Hey folks, Crazy Climber here again. And we're gonna have to step away from the 20 from the 70s series, unfortunately, because the game I wanted to do next is not available in either my MAME or my DICE emulators, or doesn't work. So instead we're gonna look at Dig Dug 2, the first sequel to the arcade smash Dig Dug. This was created by Namco in 1985 in Japan only, and it's actually a pretty good sequel. In this one, they changed the dynamics completely from the first one. They changed the appearance. This time, you have more of a over top or above sort of viewpoint of the action. And this takes place on above ground and on islands. So the enemies, which are the Pooka and the Fygar again, and Dig Dug, are above ground. You don't tunnel underground. But not only do you have your trusty pump again to inflate enemies the same way as you did in the first game, but you also have a drill, and you can go over these. You can go over these black pegs and press the drill button. And while you hold down the drill button, you can press left, right, or up or down. And you can create fault lines and connect one fault line to two edges of the island, and you'll break off a chunk of the island. Early on, it's easy to kill a bunch of enemies with one drill by destroying a big chunk of the island. This is really kind of a cool sequel. Early on, the enemies move slow enough for you to be able to take out a bunch of them for a lot of bonus points, so make sure you do that. Later on, they'll be too fast, and you'll have to start using your pump skills like you did in the first Dig Dug game. If you take out 3 chunks of island, you will get your bonus fruit. And sometimes the enemy will kill themselves. Not often though. They'll jump into the water. Now if you break off a chunk, you can snake your pump over across from a short distance and get the enemies. If you break off a chunk of land and you're still standing on that chunk of land, then you will fall in the water and die. Or if you're standing at the corner of land, you will die. You can't pull yourself back on. So you have to be like square facing the or pulling back towards the land to save yourself. But again, yeah, you go over those black spots, you hold down the drill button, and you push up, down, left, right, and create the fault line from there. And you can connect the fault lines to basically connect the dots. And try to put fault lines from one end of the island to the other. Or just make sure that they're touching the edges of the land, and you'll be able to break off that chunk. And as long as the chunk you're trying to break off is smaller than the rest of the land, then it will fall into the ocean or sea or whatever. But this game does have a pretty cool bit of strategy. Notice that the enemies themselves can't get through the fault lines, but they can still turn into ghosts and go through the fault lines that way, just like they did in the first Dig Dug to get through walls or through dirt. Now, as the levels progress, you'll notice that you can't always hook up fault lines, and now they're getting too fast for you to be able to do both of those areas to kill off all the enemies. So you can only do one. Now here is the super lucrative level. If you can make it this far, that's all you have to do. And do it fast because the enemies will come at you quick. And that is a lot of points. Yeah, later on you won't be able to connect faults and break off a big chunk of land. The pegs, those little black pegs, will not be in the right position for you to be able to do so. Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. And again, breaking off 3 chunks of land will make a prize appear. Ah, crap! That was very, very clumsy. Sometimes it's hard to control yourself when you're drilling. Ooh, yeah, if you have very good pumping skills from the first Dig Dug game, you can do well on this game. Those skills will serve you well. Especially because a lot of the times you will not be able to connect fault lines from one edge of land to another because the pegs are not situated correctly. So again, you'll have to have good pumping skills, and if you build those up by playing the first Dig Dug, then you'll definitely have an advantage. And yeah, the Fygars can breathe fire again. There was an NES version of this, and it was very, very, very similar. Is he gonna kill himself? He was gonna. Didn't give him the opportunity. Yeah, that last enemy speeds up. But they can still kill you. I mean, they'll try to kill you until they decide to kill themselves. Unlike in the first Dig Dug, in which they just wanted to escape. Whoa. Note that the Fygars can't breathe fire up or down, just left or right. Yeah, my pump's not traveling far enough to get them over that gap. Yeah, again, if you're about to fall off of land after breaking off a chunk, pull back towards the mainland on the joystick, and you should be able to get back on as long as you're close to it, or right on the edge. But if you're like at a corner from that part that you're trying to get back towards, you won't be able to get back onto it. Oops, that was clumsy. I think like maybe it was like level 20 or so that levels start to repeat. And I think at like level 32 or so, then there's gonna be no more new levels. Well, that was Dig Dug 2. That was an okay score. I could have done better. But yeah, if you make it to that 10th level, then just do the trick that I did and you get a bunch of points. And you should easily get a much high score than the other ones on this list. That is Dig Dug 2 by Namco in 1985. Only in Japan. Bloop! Well, there's a dip switch that will allow you to do a level select at the beginning of a game, and I'll show you that in a second. And you can select, like, to start at 1 or 5 or 10 or 15, I think. But you have to have put in the right dip switch. Oops. And so let's look at that real quick. Yep, 1, 5, 10, or 15, and you get 5 seconds to choose. But that was Dig Dug 2 by Namco in 1985, released only in Japan. I will be back someday with the 20 from the 70s series as soon as I get that ROM to work in MAME or DICE. This is Crazy Climber 80 saying thanks for watching Dig Dug 2 by Namco in 1985. I'll be back someday with another video. See you then, folks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.